Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Escambia County Sheriff's Office. We're always honored to have family and friends attend the award ceremonies. It's our opportunity to recognize the outstanding men and women of this agency that do the work that rarely do you get an opportunity to see, unfortunately, unless it makes the 6 o'clock news. Today we have an opportunity to thank them appropriately for this. Before we begin the award ceremony also, I would like to thank the citizens of Escambia County. As most of you know, we went through a very protracted and difficult budget battle with the Board of Escambia County Commissioners. We also know that the only reason why we prevailed in the end in that battle to, again, adequately compensate the men and women at the Sheriff's Office was due to the phone calls and the letters that our community sent to their respective commissioners and asked that they support the Sheriff's Office budget. So for that, I thank you as the Sheriff of Escambia County and for all the men and women who work here. So to begin our award ceremony, we'll begin with our promotions, the recognition of Jamie Nicole Dittmer. Jamie was promoted to the administrative assistant position within the Human Resources Division. Next, we have Mark Harper, promoted to evidence technician. Next, we have Stephanie Schmidt to crime scene tech trainee. Next, we have Deputy First Class Melissa Scruggs, promoted to Sergeant. The following employees received letters of commendation for the first quarter via mail: Sergeant Tony Tampere and Dispatcher Trainee Madeline Dixon. The following employee is receiving our life-saving medal. Would Deputy First Class Brandon Miner please come forward? On October the 6th of 2017, while working as a school resource officer at Bellevue Middle School, Deputy Miner was advised over the school radio that there was a medical emergency in hallway 900. Deputy Miner responded where he was directed to a bathroom. Upon entering the bathroom, he located a school nurse and a teacher kneeling next to a student that was non-responsive. While relaying information to dispatch for EMS, Deputy Miner overheard the nurse say, "Ask for an AED." She advised Deputy Miner that she could no longer find a pulse. CPR was started by Deputy Miner and the school nurse. After several cycles of CPR, Deputy Miner heard the subject moan and rolled the subject into the recovery position on his right side. EMS arrived shortly thereafter and transported the subject to Sacred Heart Hospital. He was hospitalized for several days and was eventually released and recovered. Deputy First Class Brandon Miner is awarded the Life-Saving Medal on June the 27th, 2018. You'll get to see him again here shortly. The following employees are receiving a life-saving medal: Sergeant Robert Pollock, Deputy First Class Samuel Shelley, Deputy Grant McMullen, and Deputy Brandon Godfrey. We also have present today the victim, Harris McDonald. Mr. McDonald, you can come forward, please. On November the 16th of 2017, on I-10 and Pine Forest Road, Sergeant Pollock witnessed a pickup truck crash to an impact attenuator deployed on the back of an L-30 truck. The truck burst into flames and the driver was trapped inside. Sergeant Pollock grabbed his fire extinguisher and began battling the flames, but the fire was too intense and his extinguisher ran out. Sergeant Pollock then called for immediate backup from nearby deputies. Deputies Shelley, McMullen, and Godfrey responded and was able to use their fire extinguishers to put the fire out. Once the fire was extinguished, Sergeant Pollock and Deputy McMullen tried to get inside the vehicle. Sergeant Pollock had to use his empty fire extinguisher to bust out the back window so the deputies could provide first aid to the driver. Due to the action of the deputies, the driver didn't suffer any burns and was able to be airlifted to a local hospital. Therefore, Sergeant Pollock, Deputy First Class Samuel Shelley, Deputy Grant McMullen, and Deputy Brandon Godfrey are awarded the Life-Saving Medal on June the 27th of 2018. Mr. McDonald, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The following employees are receiving a life-saving medal. Deputy First Class Brandon Miner, Deputy Darren Vogt, Deputy Stephen Howsam, and Deputy James Ates. We also have present today, again, the victim, unfortunately, in this scenario, Mr. Tony Capshaw. Would he please come forward? I told everyone you'd get to see Deputy Miner again. If you're ever planning on being injured, make sure his shift is on duty. On October the 17th of 2017, Deputies Brandon Miner, Darren Vogt, Stephen Howsam, and Jason Ates responded to a man-down call at 829 West Michigan Avenue. Deputy Miner was the first to arrive and found several citizens removing a non-responsive citizen from a vehicle. Deputy Miner quickly evaluated the victim, who was turning blue and not breathing, and without a pulse. Deputy Miner began CPR due to a mouth obstruction, which was chewing tobacco. The rescue breaths could not be delivered until the Deputy Miner cleared the obstruction. Deputy Howsam arrived and attached the AED and delivered a shock, after which CPR was continued by Deputies Ates and Vogt. When EMS arrived, they took over the care of the victim and transported him to the hospital. Once at the hospital, the subject was fully resuscitated. Therefore, Deputy First Class Brandon Miner, Deputy Darren Vogt, Deputy Stephen Howsam, and Deputy Jason Ates are awarded the Life-Saving Medal on June the 27th of 2018. Deputy Miner will also be receiving the Life-Saving Award for Deputy Ates, who could not be with us today. And again, Mr. Capshaw, we're so honored to have you here today. Thank you so much, sir.
Sergeant Frye would like to say something to you later. Sergeant Frye was there, retired Sergeant Frye.
We have
Retired Sergeant Frye.
Sergeant Frye. Please come up, sir.
I just wanted to say something really quick. The nice little letter really don't even do it justice. If it was not for the actions by these deputies, my good buddy right here would not be with us here today. His actual surgeon, because of his previous heart issues, said if it wasn't for their actions, the use of the AED, he wouldn't be here. My partner was expired. He was gone. And I was exhausted doing CPR. I've been an officer for over 33 years. I've never had to do anything like that. I've seen it done. But I want to thank you all from my heart. And it speaks highly for the training, the dedication, the professionalism with the Escambia County Sheriff's Department. And I wanted to thank you personally. The thing is, even after the incident, and I don't even remember who it was, but several of the deputies went to check on my partner. And I can remember them coming back and forth, but you know, it was such a stressful event, especially when it's dealing with a good friend of yours or a loved one. It just didn't really sink in. And I've called the Sheriff's Department. I've spoken to Chip, a good friend of mine. And again, I just wanted to personally thank you for what you did that day. Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
The following employees are receiving a life-saving medal, and Myron Bowes is receiving a civilian service medal. Would Sergeant Andrew Kilgan, Sergeant Greg Neesmith, Senior Deputy James Mann, and Civilian Myron Bowes please come forward? While working in an extra duty capacity at the Floribama Lounge, Deputies James Mann, Sergeant Greg Neesmith, and Sergeant Andrew Kilgan, along with business employee Myron Bowes, performed life-saving CPR on an individual who showed signs of a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. Responding to the interior of the building, the victim was located, and he had no pulse and was no longer breathing. Upon assessing his condition, CPR was started and an AED was requested. During this time, ECSO dispatcher Madeline Dixon provided vital communications to the on-scene deputies for the request of EMS, life flight, and fire personnel to transport the victim to a medical facility. CPR continued for approximately 15 minutes until the victim started breathing shallow breaths and regained a pulse. The victim was monitored until EMS and fire personnel arrived and took over the victim's medical care. Once the helicopter arrived at Baptist Hospital, it was learned that the victim was in much better condition and appeared to be responding to treatment. Therefore, Sergeant Andrew Kilgan, Sergeant Greg Neesmith, and Senior Deputy James Mann are awarded the Life-Saving Medal, and Myron Bowes is awarded the Civilian Service Medal on June the 27th of 2018. Gentlemen, thank you. The following deputy is selected as the law enforcement officer of the quarter. On March the 25th of 2018, Senior Deputy Holcomb responded to a burglary at Benjamin Oaks Apartments. The homeowner returned home to find that his front door had been kicked in and his house had been ransacked. Taken during the burglary were numerous items, including a computer, television, an H&K 223 rifle, an AK-47 7.62 rifle, and a Mosin 7.62 rifle and numerous rounds of ammunition. It was later learned that the suspects attempted to destroy a cellular phone that was used to monitor a security system in the home. After inquiring as to who would know that the victim uses his phone to monitor the system, Holcomb developed the ex-girlfriend as a possible suspect. He drove to the ex-girlfriend's home and walked up to the residence, noticed several of the stolen items was in plain view in a vehicle. He then ran the tag and developed an additional suspect. The suspect was located inside the ex-girlfriend's home, still wearing the same clothing that he was wearing in the surveillance video. Deputy Holcomb contacted the Investigations Division for assistance in obtaining a search warrant for the vehicle. He was able to recover all of the stolen property and assisted in its return to the rightful owner. Therefore, Senior Deputy Holcomb is the ECSO Law Enforcement Officer of the Quarter as of June the 27th, 2018. Thank you.